Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with a post-ban list Tenpai build. I'd actually almost forgotten that I hadn't done this yet. So yeah, the latest ban list saw limitations to only Tenpai and nothing else. Of course, there were unrestrictions for other decks like Flu and Dragon Link, but Shundra went from 3 to 1, and Sangen Summoning went from 2 to 1. Some pretty predictable hits. I'm pretty sure that mirrors both the OCG and TCG, or at least the OCG, but in any case, they were definitely expected hits to the deck. So, what has changed about Tenpai post-ban list? Well, for my build, and a lot that I have found in my research, looking around on YouTube and other forms of social media, just seeing what other people are posting and doing well with, Molcharmi Fulos is pretty much going to be the only main addition for me. Now, I will say that if you wanted to, this is like probably the one meta deck where I would consider playing Molcharmi Perulia. This card is pretty niche in terms of its ability to get a lot of draws during your opponent's turn. Certainly a lot more so than the Fulos, but the Perulia is still not awful. To be fair, if side decking best of 3 was a thing in Master Duel, you would definitely want this for a side deck, but in Tenpai, I think you could consider it. That said, there are still a lot of other good hand trap and board breaker tools that you could play before the Molcharmi Perulia. Another thing that I'm notably not playing, and that I've notably not seen in a lot of builds post-ban lists, even though people were talking about this, is the use of Gold Sarcophagus alongside, let's see, Blaster. Here we go, Blaster. So basically the idea is that if you banish Blaster, you get to activate the 4th effect here, which is to add a Fire Dragon from deck to hand. You banish yourself Gold Sark, and then you can start adding your Tenpai monsters to, of course, combo off with. But I really don't think this is that good of an idea. It sounds weird, but it ultimately is going to hurt your consistency, mainly because of drawing Blaster. It's not just the fact that we are adding a Garnet to draw, but if you draw Blaster, now you have 2 more Garnets in your deck in the form of those Gold Sarks, which don't really have a function anymore. While it is true that the consistency of this deck has been hurt by the limiting of Shundra and Sangen Summoning, I don't think adding bricks to your deck is a good way to solve it. Now, that's a statement that is pretty generic, honestly, and I should probably rephrase, because that makes it sound like adding bricks to your deck is never worth it. There are some engines where adding bricks to your deck is totally worth it, but I think that in the case that we're talking about here, it's the fact that, like, you just have so, like, again, you draw the Blaster, that's already dead, the Gold Sarks then become dead, and really, if it's a matter of drawing one of the 2 Gold Sarks as opposed to drawing the 1 Blaster, you're not that much more favored to get the Gold Sark than the Blaster. This is a deck that already has a difficult time if it doesn't open enough hand traps and board breakers establishing itself. So I think the most important thing to add before Gold Sark and Blaster would be more hand traps and board breakers. Again, that's where the Molcharmis potentially come in. Well, where Fulos definitely comes in, Perulia potentially comes in. But that could just mean like Ghost Ogres, or Ghost Bell, or Droll. I guess I have 2 Ghost Ogres to be fair, but we're playing just a few of each of these assorted hand traps in order to basically kind of have like catch-alls, especially when we're drawing a ton of cards off the Maxi or the Fulos, right? I still think Forbidden Droplet is insanely important to have. I will say that, where is it here? Shifter, I'm a little bit more open to playing this, because I mean, yeah, it does still conflict with, like, Veiler and Droplet, but, you know, the Molcharmis do play into it pretty well. They're discards, and those are likely to draw you a lot of your, you know, Ghost Girl type hand traps, which do play well under the Shifter. So I could see an argument for it. Although, to be fair, whenever we get Malice and the like, you know, then you probably don't play Shifter in Tenpai anymore. That said, Shifter, I think, is still pretty optional in Tenpai. I think the Droplet is definitely more important. I don't think that you have to play only one or the other. Again, you could play Shifter and Droplet in the same build, but it is important to always be mindful when you are shifting that you're going to cut yourself off from Droplet, which again, I think is one of the best tools in the Tenpai deck for board breaking. We are still, of course, playing stuff like Duster and Heavy Storm and Lightning Storms as well. Extra deck hasn't really changed at all. It's, again, not a lot has really changed in the grand scheme of things about Tenpai. It just does the combo line a little bit less often. So, for this deck profile, I managed to grab 3 games, and none of them are only 2 turns. So we'll have at least somewhat of a back and forth in each of these replays here. Before we take a look at those, I'm going to break this deck list down card by card. So let's go ahead and get on with that. We are on 3 Effect Veiler, 1 Droll and Lockbird, 3 Maxi, 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion, 3 Tenpai Dragon Pydra, 1 Tenpai Dragon Fadra, 2 Tenpai Dragon Genroku, 1 Dora Dora, 1 Tenpai Dragon Shundra, 3 Molcharmy Fuelos, 1 Bestial Magnum Hut, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Heavy Storm, 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Sangen Summoning, 3 Forbidden Droplet, 3 Sangen Kaimen, and then finally 3 Infinite Permanents, and that's our main deck. For the extra, we're on 1 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Meteor Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon, 1 Samurai Destroyer, 1 Quibel to the Blade Dragon, 2 Sangenpai Bident Dragon, 1 Tenpai Trident Dragon, 1 Baron Diffler, 1 Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon, 1 Super Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis, 1 Striker Dragon, 1 Heretic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres, 1 Hita the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 SP Little Knight, and finally 1 Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames. There's our list. Let's check out these duels. Alright, our first opponent's going to be playing a White Forest deck, but we're not going to really be seeing White Forest cards from them in this game. They kind of end up playing it as more of a Diabell Star control deck. They're going to be taking the first turn, naturally. And as you can see, we opened a pretty disgustingly good hand in the form of Maxi, 2 Molcharmy Fuelos Droplet, and the Sangen Kaimen. So, opponent's going to lead by specialing the Diabell Star. I am ready for the original Sinful Spoils until it's the Sinful Spoils of Betrayal, and they set 2 and pass. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that certainly wasn't what I expected. It also makes me extremely glad I didn't shotgun any of these, by the way. I think a lot of players would have shotgunned some amount of these Fuelos plus Maxi, and if I had done that after my opponent specialed the Diabell Star, before I even saw what they searched, which, again, a lot of people would do that, then I would have just been SOL and missed out on however many cards I chose to discard there. Alright, here we're going to go for the Genroku. I don't really expect this to ultimately be successful because of the Sinful Spoils of Betrayal they set, but it was actually the Ash Blossom from hand that's going to negate the Genroku effect. Here I'm going to go for the Sangen Kaimen during the battle phase, and there's the Sinful Spoils of Betrayal Silvera there. Sending the Diabell Star and then negating the Sangen Kaimen. This will, of course, also trigger the Diabell Star effect. Now here I'm going to use Max C because, as you can see, I've run out of proactive Tenpai plays to make. So at this point, my priority is cycling these Maxis and Molcharmies if at all possible. So even though it's only 1 draw, I will chain Max C here to get it. Alright, so they're specialing Diabell Star. The face down card they sent was Susurus of the Sinful Spoils. There we go. And that Maxi did cycle us into their Sangen Kaimen, which I'm very grateful for. Not setting it or Droplet because I want to get more draws off these Molcharmies here. They're going to Wanted for another Diabell, I believe, Diabell Star, before using the Seeker of Sinful Spoils, the Wanted, of course, to get a draw there. Battle with the Diabell Star and then passing back over to me. Again, like I said, they end up playing this more like a Diabell Star control deck. And again, I'm going to hang on to these Molcharmies for as long as I can. Using the Sangen Kaimen during the main phase here, going for the Fadra. I mainly wanted to use it during the main phase. I don't know, I guess there really wasn't a point to using it main or battle, was there? Not really a difference between specialing the Fadra off the effect or normal yet. Yeah, I guess it didn't really matter here. But, well, I guess what I could do if I use it during the main phase, I could Fadra for Genroku, for Pydra, for Sangen summoning, and then I can maybe clear out this back row while my stuff is still unaffected by the field spell. Was kind of what my thought process here was, but Yeah, as soon as we summon Pydra here and then search up the Sangen summoning and activate the Sangen summoning, there we go, then my opponent concedes. I've found that most people concede around, well, I guess connect fail, either way. I find that happens most often after you either summon Pydra or activate Sangen summoning. Once you've successfully resolved one of those, then the person's usually like, alright, I'm done. Which, to be fair, I am a lot of the time when I play against Tenpai as well. But so that's where you're going to see a lot of these games end. But yeah, I also think it was worth it going for Fadra there, definitely, to grab the Genroku instead of just Sangen Kaiman for Pydra, which I think a lot of people would have done. The Fadra gives us an extra body here, which probably doesn't matter, but it could. You never know. So, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That's what I always say. Alright, there's our first duel. We still got a couple more to check out. Let's go into the next one. Alright, got a mirror match here. We're going against Tenpai, but our opponent is on a Sky Striker engine, which is not bad. Definitely not bad. So, we won the coin flip, so we are going to go second here. And this is a pretty good hand. I like having the Lightning Storm in particular. Upstart Goblin definitely makes me think either Sky Striker or some kind of an Exodia FTK. Opponent went double Upstart Pass, which looks a little weird, but definitely makes sense in hindsight. So they're going to draw phase Shotgun Perulia. So I definitely want to main phase Sangen Kaiman to add, and then normal summon Pydra to not give them any draws. But they're going to Ash Blossom the Sangen Kaiman anyway. And that was really my only means of comboing. So I'm definitely going to just pass here. Not going to bother saying the Imperm. I don't really think it ends up mattering that much. Alright, so they're going to engage for Widow Anchor. And then we're going to activate Hornet Drones. And now I'm going to use Max C. Again, not shotgunning Max C's and Mulch Armies like our opponent did. And I see a lot of Tenpai players do that. I think people have this idea that because you're playing Tenpai, you can just turn your brain off completely. That's not true for literally any deck. Not even something like Stun does still require you to be thoughtful in your plays. I think any amount of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Does. And I think pretending otherwise is really more a disservice to yourself than any perceived insult you might be hurling to people who would play a deck like that. But anyway, I just don't think that's useful. Like, it's not going to make you a better player. Like, and this is coming from somebody who doesn't like playing in Stun. Like, insulting Stun doesn't make a difference, right? It doesn't make me a better player. So why bother engaging in that behavior? It's completely pointless. Anyway, we thankfully drew an Ash Blossom off Maxi by the time they went for the engage that they added back off Kagari. Didn't bother improving Kagari because I knew I was going to add, or I was going to Ash Blossom the added back engage anyway. Got a Lightning Storm the face down, which was the Widow Anchor that of course they added earlier. Gonna go for the Genroku for Pydra, and then again, this is where our opponent concedes around the Pydra Sangen summoning mark. But yeah, I think that it's really important. Again, the main highlight of both of the games that we've seen so far is ensuring draws off of our Maxi/Mulch Armies when we know we don't have plays in hand. I think the use of Maxi is something that, again, a lot of players would consider to be generally skillless. You just activate it and win, right? It's not always quite that simple. And again, you're doing a disservice to yourself more than anybody else by pretending otherwise. But anyway, we have one more game that we're going to go into, if I can talk. Blah. Let's go into that one here. And that last duel is going to be against Yubel. I kind of want to watch this replay closely, because I remember right after this game ended, my first thought was like, I feel like I could have played that better. I feel like that was probably the case, but I'd like to go ahead and try to spot instances where I could have played better here. Alright, so they're going to lead with Nightmare Pain, activating the Nightmare Pain to pop Spirit in hand, going for the Samsara at D-Lotus. Activating Spirit's effect, we're naturally going to chain the Fuelos here. I do have guaranteed plays in my hand, but at the same time, there's no benefit to shotgunning Fuelos. That's also the other reason why you shouldn't do it, is that it just plays into Gamma. It would just be for a lot less combat now, but there's no benefit to doing it, except to maybe catch a Cashiera monster. It's so niche, though. I think that's about as niche as expecting Gamma. Alright, this is another thing that's really disgusting about Fuelos, is that if you draw another one in the midst of drawing off your first one, you can just keep drawing more. It's another thing I should have brought up in my hey, Fulos is actually pretty broken video, but I'm a little surprised my opponent is choosing to combo so much. Anyway, I'm definitely going to use one of my 2 Veilers on this Yama. Don't want them to keep extending their combos, and we definitely have the Veilers to spare. Alright, they're going to set one and then pass. So we're looking pretty good. We have a lot of different avenues to play here. Gonna lead with the Sangen summoning, and then normal summon Pydra. Definitely want to play the field spell before Pydra in case they have like an Imperm or something. Get to use the Sangen summoning to add Shundra. Gonna pitch one of my 2 Genroku, which I don't really expect I'll need that badly here. Alright, now I'm going for a Black Rose Dragon board wipe. And here was my thought process, right? I can do this while the Sangen summoning is still up. The Black Rose is unaffected. I won't have to worry about the back rows. Yes, it will proc Spirit, but I can just droplet whatever Yubel monster they summon, and that should be fine, right? Oops, I didn't mean to put that on fast forward. But I wonder if I went wrong here. So my opponent chained Super Poly, which I think they just go for Loving Defender here, which I'm totally fine with. Actually, this is evidence that I was definitely right to Black Rose first here, because Super Poly would have been devastating against my board. And then their other face down was the Eternal Favorite they searched, right? Okay. Alright, so this does proc the Yama. Oh, it also gets Yama into the graveyard by the time everything's resolved. So they summon Spirit. I take 1,000, that's whatever. Here is where I droplet, because I'm like, this will not only stop the search, but I want to get these negated anyway to be able to OTK. Moving to battle, we're going to go for Sangen Kaiman for Fadra, because then we can Fadra to summon back the Shundra. Now we can Shundra effect to battle into... Oh, this is where I misplayed, as I forgot Spirit triggered when it just says if this card is destroyed. I wasn't thinking about the fact that that would include battle. But could I have played around that? Okay, so Spirit came back off of the Yama effect, which I wasn't anticipating because I thought it was going to go to the graveyard at the same time as Spirit, but then they surprised me with Super Poly. So I think, especially given where I ended up, this was all right. Okay, so then they go for Yubel. Okay, attacking with Pydra, I think, was a misplay, because then... Yeah, I didn't even know that Yubel Loving Defender... No, I did know about this effect. I just didn't realize it would activate in the graveyard. Right! I was trying to figure out why this effect activated. Now I get it. So Yubel Loving Defender was negated while on the field, but she's there in the graveyard by the end of the damage step. And they're not on the field and thus not negated anymore. That's why my Pydra got banished. If I had realized that, I wouldn't have attacked with Pydra there. I would have maybe gone for Samurai Destroyer? I don't know, actually. That's an interesting question. So, in any case, I wasn't really able to... Yeah, I wasn't really able to OTK there. But I don't know if I would have been able to... Hang on. Let me think about that for one more moment. So, Shundra battled. Loving Defender is still on field. Fadra hadn't battled either. So I don't know if it would have really made a difference. Yeah, I don't think it would have, actually, now that I think about it. Okay. Alright, so anyway, my opponent's follow-up turn. They're going for Spirit. I'm going to use Veiler, which looks a little weird here, but I'm like, I gotta get this Phantom off the board at some point anyway. Plus, now they're out of Phantoms. They've used both, which is definitely good for me. They're summoning Yubel here, flipping up Nightmare Pain. Normal summoning the D-Lotus. I'm going to use the Ash Blossom on D-Lotus for sure. They're welcome to battle into my Samurai Destroyer here, because doing so would mean that even though I take the reflected battle damage, their stuff would still get destroyed. And they would also still take battle damage. Well, no, it says instead, right? So they wouldn't take battle damage. Never mind. Alright, they're going to keep summoning here, including using Terra Incarnate to actually pull out Ultimate Nightmare. Wait, shouldn't they have just battled into my stuff then? I have 5,300 life points. 2,600 times 2 is only 5,200. They needed 3 Yubel monsters to be able to battle into me and OTK. Also, yeah, because this says instead, right? Your opponent takes any battle damage, or no, well, similar phrasing. You would have taken from battles involving, which means I don't think they take the battle damage. I should know that. I play this deck often enough. But I don't know the interactions with Samurai Destroyer, that's the thing. Either way, I think my opponent... I honestly think they misplayed by going into Little Knight here. I think they could have won. I think they could have set up a better board either way, I'm sure. But here I get Forbidden Droplet, which is perfect, because I can go Chainlink 1 Sangen Kaiman, Chainlink 2 Forbidden Droplet, send the Sangen Kaiman to negate the SP Little Knight. Sending it does not actually end up negating it, of course, so that means it will still resolve. Adding a Hydra here, get to normal summon Hydra effect to add a Sangen Kaiman. And now, because we're out of Shundras and I can't use another Sangen Kaiman, I'm just going to go for Typhoon. That was perfect timing for that part of the music here. Oh, that was perfect timing for that part of the song. As we go to Typhoon, bounce our opponent's Little Knight, and then swing in for lethal. So I think at the end of that, given that I didn't anticipate Super Poly, I think I still played that about as well as I could have. I think our opponent definitely could have played better on their turn 3. I still think I could have played turn 2, particularly the battle phase, a little bit better, but I don't know if I'm able to tell how right off the top of my head. But anyway, that'll do it for these Tenpai games. Thanks, as always, for checking these out. Super appreciate you. But let's go ahead and move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, but more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.